Well, hello everyone. This is Adam coming at you from Voice of Crypto. And to anyone who is listening, we're talking about Web3. We're talking about the mysteries of it. We're talking about what it is. We're talking about how it works, the future, and well, what exactly is its potential. So, without wasting any time, let's jump into it. I recommend grabbing a snack, grabbing some water, because hydration is always important. And lastly, grab some snorkels, because we're going into a deep dive of this. Let's take it back all the way to Web 1 and go to 3, because to explain 3, let's do a few generations. And don't worry, I'll keep it short so we can jump right away into 3. Web 1, as I'm going to start this off, was essentially the first iteration of the internet, and it was designated, as you might imagine, Web 1.0. The majority of the participants were consumers of content, and aren't we all? Whereas the makers were large web developers who built websites with material delivered primarily in text or graphic format, the Web 1 era ran roughly from 1991 to 2004. Web 1.0 was essentially the read only web. Now we get into Web 2, and that's where it gets a little interesting, because it's what we use today. It's the interactive and social web. It's the web that connects us all. It's the one that we're all comfortable with. It's a simple one in the way that we know it. And Web 2 is interesting because, as I mentioned in Web 1, they would need large web developers, right? That's not true for Web 2. Anyone can use it. Anyone can participate in the making of the sites in a Web 2 universe. Many apps are done in such a way that anyone can become a creator. And you have the ability to create a thought and share it with the rest of the world. You can post a video and make it available to millions of others to watch, and they can interact with it, comment on it, like and dislike it. Examples of Web 2 applications are YouTube, Wikipedia, Flickr, Facebook, Instagram, that person who runs like a blog over like their cooking stuff. That's Web 2 too. And as promised, we're jumping all the way to Web 3. And before I fully start onto Web 3, we must add that it's still a work in progress and it hasn't been fully defined in its potential. Though, essentially, if you did have to give it like the most basic definition, it is the decentralized web. Because rather than controlled by a single server room or governments and corporations, it's more peer to peer actually. And instead, Web3 applications either run on blockchains or decentralized network of many peer to peer nodes, or a combination of the two actually, and they form a crypto economic protocol. These apps are often referred to as DApps, decentralized apps, and you'll see that term used often on the Web3 space. Essentially, users are the owners of their own data. Global digital transactions are secure, and online exchanges of information and value are decentralized. And about Web3 from an angle that you'd expect, and since that we're a crypto podcast, cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency plays a big role in many of these protocols. It provides a financial incentive that you can call tokens. Now, I want to talk about tokens. They provide a payment layer to Web3 that is essentially frictionless and not governed. There are crypto wallets out there, such as MetaMask and Taurus, for example, and they, like most wallets, are anonymous and secure, ideally at least. And I hope this little deep dive into Web3 has been interesting, because let's notice that there is a high potential. There is a lot of things to create a business on, and that's something really interesting on what it builds out to the future. So, if you're interested, please join me again next time on Voice of Crypto. This has been Adam.